What if I told you that one of history's most infamous figures was also one of its richest? Here's how Hitler amassed millions during his rise to power. But he wasn't always so rich. He grew up in a lower middle class family supported by his father, Alois Hitler. But when his parents passed away, the money that he inherited was wasted by Hitler attempting to become an artist in Vienna. And I think we all know how that went. After failing to become an artist, Hitler was broke, living in a men's shelter, working as a labourer on a building site. Eventually, Hitler joined the army. He was promoted to Lance Corporal and earned a meagre wage, and was still in poverty. The main turning point for Hitler was when he became the key spokesperson for the Nazi Party. He finally began to acquire money and status that he so keenly desired. His main wealth at this point came from donations, where he was able to buy himself a Mercedes and a nice apartment in Munich. But it wasn't until Mein Kampf was released whilst he was in prison in 1925 that he truly began to see eye-watering wealth. The book was a major success in Germany, especially as the economy deteriorated in the late 1920s and the early 30s. When Hitler became Chancellor in 1933, it gave the book the theoretical governmental stamp of approval. From 1925 to 1933, 1.2 million Reichsmarks were made by Hitler directly from book sales. This is equivalent to $5.6 million. Unsurprisingly, Hitler also avoided tax on the sales of these books up to this point. After becoming Chancellor, he was hit with a huge tax bill of $1.6 million, which he used his influence to waive off completely. By the end of the war, over 10 million copies of Mein Kampf had been sold, netting Hitler a huge fortune of over $152 million after adjusting for inflation. But what kind of things did he spend his money on? Well, he built himself a house in Bavaria called the Berghof, and he purchased a luxury house in Munich. Another key source of income for Hitler were from corporate donors. From 1933 to 1945, Hitler received over 700 million Reichsmarks from these corporate donors, which is equivalent to $5.2 billion. Hitler also charged a royalty on the use of his image, such as on a stamp. This generated him millions more, which were hidden in offshore bank accounts and invested into properties and into art. So, at his peak, adjusting for inflation and excluding the corporate donors, Hitler had a net worth of around 150 million US dollars. If you found this video interesting and you like learning about finance, please subscribe.